Hi everyone, it's November and this is Purple Buds. So today is a day of waiting. We've been waiting for a couple of days for the election results here in America, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and I think a lot of people are feeling that way. So I started thinking, well, if I can't know the future, what if I looked up what people thought in the past about what's happening now? Does that make sense? So I have this article here. John Elfreth Watkins Jr. wrote an article called What May Happen in the Next 100 Years in the Ladies' Home Journal. Before the dawn of 2001, so 100 years from 2001 is 1901. So I'm assuming that's kind of when this was written. And basically he talked with a bunch of experts, did some research, and put together theories from experts and from his own opinions about what might happen in the next 100 years. So now that 100 years has passed, I thought it'd be interesting to go through that article with you and see how accurate it is. I'm not going to make any predictions about the future necessarily in this video. Maybe that'll be in another video. Comment below if you'd like to see that. These prophecies will seem strange, almost impossible, yet they have come from the most learned and conservative minds in America. To the wisest and most careful men in our greatest institutions of science and learning I have gone, asking each in his turn to forecast for me what in his opinion will have been wrought in his own field of investigation before the dawn of 2001, a century from now. These opinions I have carefully transcribed. 500 million people. There will probably be 350 million to 500 million people in America and its possessions by the lapse of another century. Let's check it out. Okay, so I just looked this up. He guessed 350 million to 500 million people. It is 328.2 million people. So, I don't know. Let me check how many people were in 1901 in America. Okay, so according to Google, 77.58 million, so like 78 million people were around in 1901 in America. So, I mean, that's, we've added quite a few more people in 100 years thanks to modern medical intervention. And but I think it's probably less than they thought. Maybe they thought birth control wouldn't be as much of a thing, but it is. So, yeah, he was close. Almost 350 million people. The American will be taller by 1 to 2 inches. His increase of stature will result from better health due to vast reforms in medicine, sanitation, food, and athletics. He'll live 50 years instead of 35 at present, for he will reside in the suburbs. 50 years? Oh no! Oh, that's depressing. I'm so glad that we've made it this far due to athletics and sanitation. It's gotten a lot better. Apparently now it's like 81 years, something like that for people. So, okay, so some things have gotten better in the last 100 years. There will be no C, X, or Q in our everyday alphabet. Didn't happen, sorry. We still have the inch instead of the meter, centimeter. America likes to hold on to things for a very, very long time past their prime. Hot and cold air from spigots. I think we're talking about air conditioning, people. No mosquitoes nor flies. Well, all right, this is a complicated question. Have you all heard about the crazy thing that happened this year in 2020? Apparently they released a bunch of mosquitoes that'll help drive the population of mosquitoes down. So it was like genetically modified mosquitoes that will keep the population dwindling of mosquitoes in general. And there wasn't a whole lot of like research to back it up. I mean, they knew it would work, but they didn't study the ramifications enough. At least that's the article I read, but that's not a thing yet. We also have lots of flies. That hasn't been a priority. There have been a lot of other things on the table as priorities. Ready cooked meals will be bought from establishments similar to our bakeries of today. All right, I'd like to hear more about that. They will purchase materials in tremendous wholesale quantities and sell cooked foods at a price much lower than the cost of individual cooking. A lot of our food is a lot more heavily processed and manufactured before it reaches our tables now. I would say that's pretty true. Served hot or cold to private houses in pneumatic tubes or automobile wagons. Yeah, I mean, people do deliver food in automobile wagons. The meal being over, the dishes used will be packed and returned to the cooking establishments where they will be washed. So, have y'all heard of Loop? It's something I'm kind of obsessed with. In major cities in America, there's this company that's pairing with Amazon where you get reusable bottles of things, finish them, put them back in a bag, and then Amazon will pick it up, refill it, and bring it back to you for a price. Such wholesale cookery will be done in electric laboratories rather than kitchens. I don't know a single kitchen that calls itself an electric laboratory, but maybe I just haven't been to enough restaurants. No foods will be exposed. Storekeepers who expose food to air breathed out by patrons will be arrested, with those who sell stale or adulterated produce. Liquid air refrigerators will keep great quantities of food fresh for long intervals. Yes, we have refrigerators that do a pretty good job. I would say that probably laws about food safety have gotten stricter since 1901, if I had to guess. Kind of makes you wonder how germy foods were 100 years ago, though. Were they selling gross stuff and nobody knew about it because germ theory hadn't taken hold or something like that? When was germ theory? Again, according to Google, in the 1800s, germ theory was controversial. So probably in 1901, it was still gaining traction. So yeah, there were probably a lot more germs in food. Oh my gosh, the germaphobe in me is really glad to know that our food is not like that anymore. I mean, now we have a problem with not properly distributing our food. We end up wasting quite a bit of food, especially in America, partly because of our laws. Like when food restaurants and bakeries and things have food at the end of the day, there are certain laws and certain liabilities that they might have if they give that food away, that they can't use anymore in their restaurant, but isn't bad yet. So I think we need to amend our laws so that things are safe, but we aren't wasting food, and we give that food that's left over to people who need it. So there's a lot of food waste, and yes, I think the germ theory has advanced enough now that we can do that safely if we tried. Coal will not be used for heating or cooking. It will be scarce but not entirely exhausted. The Earth's hard coal will last until the year 2050 or 2100. Is anybody using a coal stove to cook their eggs in the morning? I want to know. Comment below if you use coal to cook your eggs in the morning. Along the seacoast will be numerous reservoirs continually filled by waves and tides washing in, and out of these the water will be constantly falling over revolving wheels. So they're predicting, water electricity. They're predicting green energy. Unfortunately, we're still getting there, but yes, we do have the technology. We are trying, and probably there's water electricity being used in certain places right now, but it's not super common in America. Hydroelectric power in the United States is, as of 2019, the second largest renewable source of energy. In 2019, hydroelectric power produced 38% of total renewable energy, but only 6% of the total US electricity. So yes, it is popular in terms of green energy, but America isn't good at green energy. No streetcars in our large cities. All hurry traffic will be below or high above ground when brought within city limits. This is interesting because I talked about this in grad school a little bit. Apparently Tesla was trying to put underground tunnels in a city for transportation to make LA traffic better, I think. And I don't know where they are on that project, but I also know that people are interested in putting trains from one side of the country to the other, like high-speed trains, a little bit like they have in Europe. We're interested in that idea, but we're not there yet. Photographs will be telegraphed from any distance. We got that. Yay, the internet. Yay for space photos. Have y'all seen space photos recently? We finally got photos of Pluto, and she looks fantastic, so she's doing well with or without us. I wouldn't call it telegraphing, but he could not have predicted the internet in 1901. Photographs will produce all of nature's colors. Yes. Trains 150 miles an hour. Looking up the fastest train. Apparently the mcglev is a magnetic levitation railway system developed by Central Japan Railway Company, and it goes 370 miles an hour. Yeah, that's like more than double what he predicted. That's pretty darn cool. Automobiles will be cheaper than horses. I don't know. A horse is not as effective. I would not ride a horse on the highway or to work. Everybody will walk 10 miles. Gymnastics will begin in the nursery, where toys and games will be designed to strengthen the muscles. A man or woman unable to walk 10 miles at a stretch will be regarded as a weakling. Well, personally, I think that's kind of ableist, but I don't think that was really a concept for people 100 years ago. So we've come further there. I'm just imagining, like, everybody's legs being strong. Like, I don't feel like that's necessarily the case now. I don't walk around to get immediately distracted by how muscular everyone's legs are. It would have been pretty novel back then to see a woman, like, jogging around on the streets, and now it's commonplace. So that's a good thing. England in 2 days. We can get to England in, like, 6 hours now. This is a lot of correct for somebody living 100 years ago who couldn't have predicted the internet. Pretty cool. There will be no wild animals except in menageries. I think that's an old-timey word for zoo. Rats and mice will have been exterminated. It has not happened. The horse will have become practically extinct. By comparison, I'd say yes, but horses are not extinct. A few of the high-breed horses will be kept by the rich for racing, hunting, and exercise. Yeah, the automobile will have driven out the horse. He's very correct. Cattle and sheep will have had no horns. Don't know what that's about. Food animals will be bred to expend practically all of their life energy in producing meat, milk, wool, and other byproducts. Depressingly true. It's a little unfortunate. Don't watch a documentary about it. Don't recommend it. Wouldn't do it. I can't. Grand opera will be telephoned to private homes. Well, if you look at the pandemic, I mean, we've done that quite a lot recently, but not a lot before then. I think that the pandemic has forced art institutions, especially performing art institutions, to innovate really quickly and figure out how to get butts in seats, even when those butts are around the world. Earlier this year, I watched something from the National Theatre of England, National Theatre of London. It was Frankenstein. So it was with Benedict Cumberbatch and this other guy who I love, and I can't remember his name. It was, like, really cool to see that kind of play in my own home. So yes, it's happening. How children will be taught. A university education will be free to every man and woman. Store purchases by tube. Try Amazon drones. I am fascinated to see how that goes. Give me another 100 years. I will let you know. Strawberries as large as apples. Thank you, GMOs. One cantaloupe will supply an entire family. I don't want to eat a pea this big. I don't think anybody wants to. Microscopes will lay bare the vital organs. Oh yeah, like MRIs, X-rays. Well, you know, John Elfreth Watkins Jr., you predicted quite a few cool things about the future that came true. And it's weird to think of a world without those things, especially the internet. I mean, it's changed absolutely everything about how we live our lives. So I would say, very good job. Congratulations, you did your research, and yeah, you were pretty spot on about a lot of things. Let's see what the next 100 years brings. I'm hoping it's good things. We are going to be talking for just a second about Epilepsy Awareness Month in America. So, epilepsy is a really prevalent condition. People have seizures all the time, every day, and I feel like there's a big lack of public awareness about what seizures are, what epilepsy is, and to help combat that in my personal life, I'm going to be taking a seizure first aid training course. It takes about an hour and a half, and it's going to be through the Epilepsy Foundation. They have all kinds of resources for education, teaching about what epilepsy is and how you can help. And this is one very specific and I hope valuable way to help. So if you are interested in that, they do have more trainings later this month. So please check it out on the Epilepsy Foundation's website. Thanks for watching.